In the first, it was so difficult because I couldn't speak English and I didn't have any friends. And it was strange to me, everything here in England.
This is Amani. She's a mum of 3 from Syria.
So I didn't understand even the system. It was so complicated for me. But now it's good because I have settled here, and my children is getting better now, and I can speak English.
Amani and her family came here in 2016 under the Syrian Vulnerable Persons Resettlement Scheme, or the VPRS.
And my children doing very well in their school.
She's one of 20,000 Syrian refugees the government have pledged to resettle in the UK by next year. Back in Syria, Amani was a primary school teacher. She's just been offered a new job as a teaching assistant. She smiles now, but the past 3 years have not been easy.
I miss my family, my mother. It was so difficult.
She counts herself as one of the lucky ones to be given the chance of a fresh start here. Thousands of others, her family included, are still in refugee camps in Lebanon.
I speak with my mother. I was just remove my chairs and I said, I'm happy here. Don't worry about me.
I always say to new arrivals, think about you live here forever. So how you want to build your life. Don't think you are living here temporary. So it doesn't matter you live here for 2 years, but if you plan you're living here for forever, then you know how to ground and how to settle in this country.
Yeah, that's really sensible advice. Zirak Hamad came to Birmingham in 2002 at the height of the Iraqi war. He was born in Erbil, which is the capital city of Kurdistan in northern Iraq. Since moving here, he's been an active member of the community, providing guidance and support to the new arrivals. Zirak has gone from not knowing a word of English to now completing his master's degree over here. He's also very involved in the arts and culture movements in Birmingham. My name is Laura Sanders. I was born and raised here in Birmingham. I've grown up knowing we share this city with people from all over the world, but not really understanding much about them, where they came from, and what their journeys have entailed. With so much negative rhetoric being directed towards immigrants, I want to find out if this is reflected in the community, and what the experiences are of those trying to integrate here.
There's a sense that and the people we interviewed said this, they feel that the Home Office doesn't want them to actually become part of British society, that they want them to really feel that at any point they might be asked to leave.
Kirsten Fourcutt is a researcher at the Birmingham School of Media. She's been involved in national studies of the government's anti-immigrant rhetoric.
The process of claiming asylum in the UK is very difficult. Cases often have a very difficult chance of succeeding, and it's usually only on the appeal stage that they actually succeed. They often have to wait a very long time for their claim to be processed. And often one of the things they encounter is a kind of culture of suspicion when they have the immigration interview. It's very difficult for people to put down roots, to belong to a community, to start their lives. Basically, the immigration rules around asylum seekers, they actually make it hard for people to integrate.
Whilst the government focuses on tightening the borders, local authorities, with the little money they have, are left to deal with the strain recent migration has put on their resources and communities. In 2014, Birmingham declared itself a city of sanctuary, pledging to provide refuge to those fleeing conflict and persecution. Since the start of the so-called migrant crisis, Brits have been made to feel alarmed that their communities will be inundated with refugees, threatening British values and refusing to integrate. At the time of the last census, almost a quarter of Birmingham's population were migrants. Since this, over 500 Syrian refugees have been resettled here, amongst many other migrants. Birmingham City Council tell me that since 2017, over £2 million of Home Office funding has been spent on projects to help boost integration. This money comes from a Home Office spending pot called the Controlling Migration Fund. To get this money, local authorities have to propose plans and bid for the money, which then has to be spent on the projects they pitch. What the council actually means by boosting integration is addressing issues they feel new migrants are most vulnerable to. Most of the money was spent on things like tackling homelessness, destitution, rogue landlords, and human trafficking. Whilst some of the money was spent on community cohesion and supporting English lessons, a lot more needs to be done to help people with these building blocks for integrating into the community.
I mean, lots of people will tell us that, they're here, they're really thankful that they're here and they want to give back.
Preet Gill is the MP for Birmingham Edgbaston. In July, she took a campaign to Parliament calling for the wider provision of ESOL, which is English for speakers of a second language.
They want to work, they see that as being dignified, and I think that's the important thing about here. This campaign is about really respecting and having that sense of dignity for those people that have come here.
In Nechells, the community have taken it upon itself to help support migrants. This is one of 4 Birmingham wards where new migrants, those who have lived here for less than a decade, outnumber those who are more established. It's a predominantly Somalian community here, and fluency in English is below the city average. I've come to Nechells Pod, a community centre which offers ESOL and city and guild qualifications, as well as fitness and wellbeing classes. It's a real community hub, and I've come to talk to some of the ladies in today's sewing class who have recently completed their Level 1 ESOL. For privacy, the women did not want their faces to be shown on camera.
So my name is Nazeen Qureshi and I work for Workers Educational Association, and our aim is to go into the community and provide courses where they're needed. A lot of our learners, because they don't have very good English speaking skills, they feel a bit alienated for them to actually go into a college. So that's why we go into the community and go where they are and provide courses. Sewing is sort of their first step towards education in a way, so they do something that's familiar, and then some of them gain confidence and go on to do ESOL courses with us.
Help me because my daughter is going to grammar school this year. I learning them, teach them, help them for everything, for math, for English.
So next term we're going to be bringing in City and Guilds because a lot of them feel more confident. They're important for them to integrate and get involved in the community, and just learn new skills, learn life skills.
And it's not just refugees who struggle to integrate here. When I visited the pod, I met Gabriela Datcu. Originally from Romania, she's training to be a social worker. Before this, Gabriela had a unique role as an interpreter for the Roma communities in Birmingham. It was at the pod that she started to tell me about the level of discrimination this community experiences. I've met with her again to find out more.
In my culture and traditions, we don't trust easily. It was difficult especially for the health visitors to engage the Roma community. For example, if they went to do the home visits, when they knocked on the door, they didn't open the door because they didn't know what's all about, who's knocking at the door.
Despite being predominantly economic migrants, the Roma people are subject to some of the same vulnerabilities that refugees and asylum seekers are.
They had difficulties to understand how the health system works, how the schools work, how they should present themselves. Because everything is new, it's very difficult for them to adjust at the beginning. Obviously, it's going to take time.
Unfortunately, the funding to have somebody like Gabriela was cut 11 years ago.
At the moment, what's happened with the ESOL class provision, it has really been directed at Syrian resettlement scheme, and that's only one cohort and one group of people. And actually, we want it to be much more widely accessible, because I think the benefits to the economy just absolutely outweigh the government not wanting to kind of upfront fund the cost of ESOL. The fact that we have seen huge, significant amount of cuts just means we have to end up paying further down the line, and that just cannot be right.
When I left the job, there were like at least 10,000 families combined in those areas. So it's beyond me. I don't understand why nobody is acknowledging these people and why they're not doing anything about it. And probably that's the reason I'm doing the course, because I'm trying to be the voice of some of these people.
The opportunities in Birmingham, I never complain. If you want to be active, if you want to work hard, yeah, the opportunity is there. That's all to do with you, how you want to approach, I believe.
English community, when I came here, they are friendly people. They want to show you are so welcome in our country.
Amani and Zirak are proof that being well supported with resettling in the UK leads to greater independence and being accepted into the community.
Almost I'm Bromi now.
I'd say you're Brummy now
Yeah.
for 17 years.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
Local authorities are doing all that they can to help. But there are calls for the government to focus more on the internal affairs of immigration. In a letter to the new Home Secretary this month, the organisation British Future outlined 5 key reforms they want to see in the immigration system. This includes replacing the current net migration target for a more efficient and realistic goal, an annual migration day in Parliament where all voices could be heard and not, quote, just the extreme views at both ends. Making the Home Office more efficient in light of the Windrush scandal. Prioritising the importance of English language for integration. And encouraging migrants to become citizens. This letter came off the back of the international conversation on immigration. A mouthful it may be, but this was a pilot national survey conducted to present the findings about public opinion on the immigration system. It's the largest study of its kind, and British Future are now calling for this to be an annual event to voice public views in Parliament. The citizens' panels also revealed that public attitudes towards immigrants were much more balanced than the government's rhetoric. It states, while the citizens' panels wanted immigration to be controlled, they also wanted the system to be fair, both for migrants and to receiving communities. This report sees Brexit as an opportunity for the UK's immigration system to be reformed. Looking back at Birmingham City Council's expenditure on boosting integration, making the Home Office more efficient can only reduce the risks of destitution, homelessness, rogue landlords and human trafficking. And so, perhaps more money could be freed up in local authorities to focus on community cohesion and support. This is Laura Sanders, Birmingham.